On this episode of AV Week, TCU has brand new acoustic sounds, what that means for stadium sound and what that will mean for stadiums going forward. Also, taking a look at face recognition software that helps you interact with technology. All that and more. Next on AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 454, recorded Friday, May 1st, 2020. Buttery Sound.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by
Extron, industry-leading technology backed by world-class support.
And by DA-LITE, the leading producer of high-quality projection screens worldwide. And by
peerless-AV, driving technology through innovation.
This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audio-visual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. It doesn't look like it, but we're in brand new studios. Hopefully by the end of May, it'll look like it. But yeah, this is still a green screen, but we're in a little bit bigger spaces, a little bit better lighting. So yeah, that was fun. Thanks to Mr. George Tucker for filling in for me last week, and for Mitchell, our producer, for not abandoning Mr. Tucker last week. So that was awesome. With us to discuss the news and information we have gathered this week, first and foremost, my buddy and pal, and the all things social when it comes to AVNation, Miss Kelly Perkins. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Tim.
Also with us, I'm not doing any sort of geography, so Luke Jordan, who also happens to be in Texas at the moment. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Awesome. I'm saving Bradford for last because he's just going to take over by then. So Ed Chaudhry from AVNView, welcome, sir.
How you doing?
And last but not least, the illustrious, the man without name or a legend in his own mind, the illustrious Mr. Bradford Ben.
Great to see you, Tim. Just like you, I moved into my new office. Hope you guys like it. It might look familiar to some of you. This is the quarantine facility from Apollo 11, the inside of the Winnebago. So while Tim moved into a bigger office, I get a 1960s small space to deal with. Who's the winner here? And I'm the one who signs the rent checks.
This is true. You do, for some reason. You still sign those. Also, our first.
Wait up! I forgot the disclaimer.
Oh yes,
I got to do my disclaimer. My employer makes me say this, as does my wife. I do not speak for anyone else. Not my friends, not my enemies, not my wife. I do speak for Tim on occasion, but my views do not express those of my employer, my employer's subsidiary, my wife, my dogs, my nephews, my nieces, anyone but me. If you don't like it, blame me. If you do like it, blame me. And if you have any questions, email Tim.
That would be Mitchell.Tulin@avnation.tv. So that is my email address.
Or just webmaster@avnation.tv.
Or webmaster, actually, that would get both me and Bradford. Yeah. First story comes to us from our friends over at AV Magazine. NEC and Toshiba and a bunch of other folks are getting together. Toshiba Tech, Fujitech, and NEC are getting together for touchless display technology. And from the article here, touchless technology is taking off in Japan with COVID-19, accelerating the trend. Underway, near 50% of the global sensor technology market is in Japan. What they're doing is they are coming out with sensors that are allowing you to basically interact with and engage what you normally would have used for touch with your face, with facial recognition. Ed, I'm going to start with you on this from the manufacturer's standpoint. When we look at the current prices that we're in, current COVID-19 crisis, and there have been a bunch of folks who have already come out with technology and devices and products to help in our current situation. As folks are developing things and looking at our current situation, there's a lot of folks that are kind of forecasting where we're going. How are we able to say, okay, here's our current environment. Now here's what's going to happen next, and then get products on the street in enough time?
Well, in manufacturing, it's impressive that these large companies have been able to pull off what they have with the touchless. And what impressed me most on the article was that we can now recognize faces with masks on, and with eye direction and full face direction of where the consumer is pointing. So how do they do it so fast? I would have to ask them. I don't know. But it is impressive on how fast they're adapting to the situations. I mean, in essence, in 4 to 6 weeks, things have changed so much that that how do they how are large manufacturers making such quick decisions and being on point with their manufacturing? It's impressive, and I'm not sure how they're doing it, but they're doing it.
Bradford, one of the parts of this technology that I find fascinating is something that we've already used, not we AVNation, but in website trafficking, and that is the eye movement, eye tracking technology. Again, want to be clear, AVNation doesn't have that technology.
I'm
it's
the privacy
possible.
guy, so we do as little tracking of people as need be. We only do what we need to get our ad revenue, and that's one of those things Tim and I are very cognizant of. You don't have to sign up to see any of our stuff. You don't even have to tell us who you are. Just enjoy the site. We don't track you other than knowing you came and listened to the podcast or read my article, so that advertisers give us money, which is an important thing. So thank you, advertisers.
And we appreciate you listening to the podcast. But that's the thing is, Bradford, is we're taking, these folks are taking technology that already exists, right?
Yes, and that's the key thing.
Go ahead.
It already exists. So like, for instance, as Ed was saying, how are they rolling it out so fast? I'll start with a couple of things that are known. So like, yes, they're doing facial recognition just based off of the eye points, because there's typically 27 points on the face that they use to pick who you are. Now, my hunch is, and this is keyword hunch being the techno nerd, is that it's a smaller pool than the entire public, because it's at the NEC factory, I believe. The NEC headquarters. So it's just the people who work at NEC, not everybody. But if you look at the IR sensors for proximity of not pressing elevator buttons, of are you in the rooms, a lot of this stuff has existed at a higher fidelity than consumer has. Allow me to illustrate. I have a lighted keyboard from a certain major manufacturer that also makes a great webcam called a Brio. When I get close to it, it lights up. It's doing that by a short range IR sensor that sees I'm close. And they also have this same technology, whether it be ultrasonic, IR, etc., in factories to know how far away things are when they're moving. So literally, to Ed's point, yes, they're turning on a dime, but a lot of this technology has existed, just not public facing. So like when we talk about some of the stuff, like we can measure the distance from the Earth to the moon to within a quarter of an inch. Well, that same technology says we can measure the distance from a surface to your finger within a micron, and can even read the fingerprint off your finger using that same technology. So I think the markets are pivoting faster to bring this technology in, and consumers are willing to pay the higher price for the better technology for the security. I think this will address some of my things that I don't like if there are 3 people standing in front of something, how do you know which person pressed the button? Well, instead of having a 3-foot range, go to the better resolution and go to a 3-inch range, and now you know which person has it. While not giving away any secrets, a whole lot of theme parks have interactive things that are using this technology to, when you walk up, you talk to a turtle or a potato or a wizard or whoever, and it's that same technology. It's kind of like the way that some ATMs don't start recording till you get close. So I think it's more of a finessing of the technology than new technology.
Than bringing in something new,
Yeah, because like as Ed said, they're turning really fast, faster than new technology can be invented, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things of, look at your iPhone. It doesn't have a button anymore, and it reads your thumbprint, and that's, same near field is quote unquote touchless. Now, the mask stuff, that's pretty impressive, but I want to see it work in the grand public, not just at a headquarters. But I do think this is a key item that is going to continue because, yes, you know how I feel about voice control, and everyone thinks that's the great new way to do it. And then there's the slap fight episode we did years ago of gesture control. I think these touchless sensors are going to be the middle of the road that solves it, because now you could put saran wrap over a touchscreen and throw it out at the end of the day instead of sanitizing it. Some of this type of stuff starts to become real, like it works through gloves. You know, how great would that be? Yes, buttons work through gloves, but some touch panels don't work through gloves, but this technology would allow it. So I do think it's a great thing.
That actually leads us my question for Luke is this the next interactive technology? Is this the next control system, right? Or the next interface for control system? I mean, I have been a long proponent of voice control, and I still am, and Bradford and I, we agree to disagree on that. But is this the next iteration of control interface?
That's up to the market. That's the thing is, you know, you like voice control. Bradford doesn't, but he likes the ability to quickly flip a room, sanitize it, and it's kind of a middle of the road between touch, voice, no touch, all of that. But it's really up to the market. And I think some verticals are probably going to embrace this more. I think healthcare probably would like this because I can wear my PPE. I can stay sanitized longer and not have to go through as many latex gloves or scrub down or whatever. If I don't have to interact with it, that's great. I don't know what the cost of the technology is. If it's coming out to the consumer market, it's probably coming down. But at the same time, if I can just use my RFID key fob and just continue using that, I'm still only touching my things. But so it's up to the market. I think different verticals are going to lean towards touch, lean towards voice, lean towards facial recognition and other sensors in the biometrics category. But it's wait to see.
Ask you a question, Luke, because Tim's just lost control of the show. He's used to it.
Well, he invited you into the show.
Yeah. Well, he didn't invite me. I have the code. I am a Zoom troll. So the thing I want to ask, and this is serious, and Kelly, feel free to jump in. Tim, even your opinion's valid. Ed, you too. Is this a question, though, of you as the integrator, as the expert, as the person supplying this technology? Do you see yourself making customers aware of this? And does this solve a problem for your current market?
I don't consider my job to educate people about this technology exists. Do you think it's a good fit for you? It's really more, if I can spend time with people understanding what their problems are, maybe better than they do, and then introducing them to a fitted solution that works, I would have no problem saying, this new, consumer-facing facial recognition technology that these sensors and displays have. I think this is a really good fit for you. Here's the price. Here's the value. What do you think? I have no problem doing that. I am always looking for new solutions, but it starts not so much with how I've got a great solution. Where can I sell this? How can I serve people with this technology? But one, I want to be on the cutting edge of technology, not the bleeding edge. I don't want to put something in before it's been tested out or we fully understand the consequences of putting this in and who's using that data and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's what are the needs first, and let the market tell me what solutions are going to be a good fit and what they're willing to pay for that. So I go the other direction.
Kelly, I wanted to bring you on this from a manufacturer standpoint. Kelly has worked for a number of folks inside the industry, including manufacturing. To go back to something that Ed said and also that Bradford said about turning on a dime here, how do you get this information out there as quickly as possible? I mean, is it something where you call up folks like Luke and say, look, here's a solution? Or is it where more you work with people like Bradford who, Bradford, I don't think he coined the phrase, but he's used the phrase super user an awful lot in the last couple of years. where you contact these customers and say, look, here's a technology. It's not new technology, right? It's just our new wrapping of it. And getting into their hands and then pushing that or pulling that from the integrators.
Honestly, I mean, I don't even really entirely understand what they're trying to do with all of this stuff. Like, it's sensing your face for what?
It's saying like age verification. Age verification to buy tobacco products, alcohol. If it's restricted access to certain key personnel, instead of having to swipe your employee access card, you can just blink and then you're in. So kind of Charlie's Angels for the rest of us.
And then there's also you don't have to touch the elevator button. You put your finger in front of it and it figures it out. But I also want to give Kelly, I would give her standing applause for this, but the height of the quarantine facility is too short. She summed up exactly what I was trying to ask Luke. What's this do and how does it help people?
Well, and this is just an example of, so like when I was down in Australia and traveling, like you could use your cell phone for everything. You could use it to pay for stuff. You didn't have to touch anything, right? You're at the grocery store, you could tap your card, but you could literally use your phone for pretty much everything. So going back to Luke's point, it's like, why does it have to recognize your face? Why can't you just use things you're already using and carrying with you on a day-to-day basis anyways? So I mean, the face thing I guess is kind of cool, but I just don't understand necessarily how it works.
You guys remember the mirrored OLED displays they came out with for like 3 years and now they don't make anymore?
Yeah, they only make them for the tonal gym at home.
Yeah. So when those came out at Infocom, you could stand in the mirror, you could, try on this hat, this purse, whatever, and now that it's gone. But what came after that was the like 90% transparent displays. So that ended up being a stepping stone to something better that's got more value. I think this might be possibly part of that. I think we've got this existing technology. What happens if we put these two together? Who's going to use that? Who's going to buy that? And I think that has yet to be determined how helpful this is to actually solve problems that already exist or don't.
Thank you so much for watching this first segment of AV Week. To check out the rest of the episode for free, click on the link below or go by the website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.